I have posted myself not wearing any clothes once in my life on social media.
You mean naked?
Yes, naked. How many times have you posted yourself naked?
I've also posted myself naked once. I was 60 years old. It was for my 60th birthday, and I threw my back out trying to hide my bits. Welcome to Talk 50 to Me.
Talk 50 to me.
Let's do it again. I did. I totally did.
You did. How did you throw your back
Because
out?
I had to sit in this chair in this position and hold it, and
You did it for your 60th birthday for yourself or to say something to society about women in their 60s?
I always want to say something to society about women in their 60s. I mean, that's my whole point of being cringe on social media. I wanted to say, like, my body might look different, but this is me at 60 in my birthday suit on my birthday. And
how did you hide your bits so much so that you
I
threw
had
out
to
your
drag
back?
a chair into the bathroom, like this stool, a Bertoya stool, and it was very metal and cold, and I had to cross my legs and sit a certain way. And there's raw footage that is not attractive, perhaps, and I threw my back out.
Yeah. I remember that photo because that was when you and I first met. You were turning 60 and I was turning 50. For me, I did it to get attention to a hashtag that I wanted and was hoping would become a thing. Because it was hashtag me Monday, no pause.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Because I was full in perimenopause and I felt like shit. I didn't know, who I was, what I was, and I passed by myself in the mirror. And I remember looking at myself in the mirror and I was like, I don't look how I feel, which is like shit. I was like, I look great. As far as, this mirror and this angle and this plant in the way and this candle, so instead of throwing my back out, I placed things in positions where you couldn't see anything.
Right.
But I basically used it as a tool to get people to pay attention. Which is crazy because we talk about body image and how women are so conditioned about how they're being raw about their body, and we're always basically put up on a pedestal based on our image, right? So here you and I were in places in our life where I don't know, maybe I should speak for myself, but for me, I was really trying to hold myself accountable to remember that I had that moment, because if it was just a photo in my album, which has like 20,000 pictures in it, I might never see it again and not remember. But when I put it out there for thousands and thousands of strangers to see, I was like, I'm being held accountable to be like, yeah, we need to appreciate ourselves better, because it is true that you'll look back at this time and say, why didn't I appreciate myself then?
Yeah, I mean, I think we don't look at ourselves naked enough. I think we are our own worst critics. And I think you just have to love the skin you're in. And for me, like, posing in my underwear every day really has been helpful for me to be more appreciative of the fact that I look normal for me. And the great thing is you always get those comments from people that are like, well, of course you look okay, you skinny bitch. And I love those people. They make me feel better. You know who's really great at posting a naked picture of herself? Like a badass mamma jamma? Today's guest.
She is an actress, director, writer, philanthropist. But if you ask her, she will simply call herself a storyteller, a mother, a traveler with no bags to check. In her 50s, she is busier and braver than ever. After once saying, no, I'm too old, I don't want to learn new things, she faced that fear head on and stepped into directing an episode of Fire Country, which she also stars in, as well as fighting for age parity and even pushed to have her character last season have menopause symptoms. In the last 6 years, she has written for over 16 publications, including Rolling Stone, New York Times, Wall Street Journal, Reader's Digest, LA Times, The Hollywood Reporter, and Entertainment Weekly, just to name a few, and landed 3 magazine covers for the very first time, all since turning 50. She is dynamic, fierce, and endlessly inspiring. Welcome to Talk 50 to me, Diane Farr!
Woo, woo, wow, that was my favorite intro ever. You do so much homework. Not surprising, women over 50, but thank you.
I don't know how you even have time to be here. I feel like you should be doing one of those 400 things that I'm tired already and we're just starting.
I'm gonna take a nap as soon as you're done. And I farmed out my children and I don't live with a man. So I have more time than the average gal.
Yeah, that living with a man's a real time suck, isn't it?
Okay. Anyways, on that note, okay, Diane, we're going to jump right into it. Do you have one word to describe your 50s?
I want to say 3 words, 4 words, more exciting than I thought. Maybe I could say uplifted.
Uplifted. Okay. And do you
did it start out that way?
Yeah, Constance and I had a conversation about this once where she was talking about her 40s being hard, or maybe you were saying maybe it was your 50s that were going to be hard. And I said, no, it was my 40s that were hard and my 50s are like a reprieve, because my late 40s, it was like I was stuck between 2 archetypes. I was no longer, and I don't mean on screen, I mean as a person in the world. I wasn't quite the leading lady, newly married, new mom, just happy to be getting to do all of those things. I was tired of them and exhausted, and I didn't look like a matriarch yet. And I didn't act like a matriarch. I don't know if I act like a matriarch now, to be honest, but like I looked a little too young, and I was not thinking I was as wise as I was. And as soon as I hit 50, it was like this other launch of this part of my life. And it was great right from the start.
That's very cool. I do think there are different switches that flip at 50, at 60. Mine was very different at 60 than it was at 50. Do you think this sort of freedom and uplifting energy is part of what gave you the incredible idea to pose naked for your 55th birthday? Which 56, sorry. Which was really beautiful to see. I especially loved you holding your ass up, because I myself have done that exact pose. It's like it's in its final resting place.
You know, I could go to the gym and probably pick it up, but it's unlikely I'm going to be motivated to do that. I put like a kind of sexy picture of myself for some like late 40s birthday, and I asked my kids for permission to do it, and they all said no, and then I manipulated them into letting me do it, and they begrudgingly agreed, and it comes up all the time. And this was like, I got up in the morning. Sometimes you like the way your body looks and sometimes you don't. I'm having a period where I like it. I don't think it's maintainable. And I was like, let me take a picture. And I wanted something more clinical. Like, it's not a super sexy photo. It's kind of a clinical photo of like, this is actually what I look like. And it's better than you think. Like, so why don't we give us a little bit of credit that it's better than you think?
And I do think, because we were talking at the top of this episode about the times that we've chosen to post photos naked, and they were 2 totally different reasons for both of us. So it is an interesting topic, because it's a state of mind that translates through the way you look at yourself.
Yeah. But I do want you to know that the only thing that you have to maintain is your love of what you look like naked?
Oh, that's so good. Sometimes it's changed a lot, like probably every decade. And sometimes I really like it and sometimes I really don't. But I don't know that I act any differently. I like the feeling on the inside when I like the way I look. I'm not a gym rat. Like, it's not my thing. I was a thin person growing up, so I'm not great at dieting.
You're fucking busy.
Yeah, I'm busy. The busy is helping. The busy is helping. And I'm like, when it feels good, I kind of want to capture it so I can draw from it when it's not feeling good. And isn't it funny that we take, I have two daughters who are 17, and I see when they want to look sexy. And it's such a funny thing to watch now, because it's not entirely to catch a man. It's not entirely just to impress their peers. Sometimes it's because they're trying to figure out if they think they're sexy. Mm. And at this age, it has nothing to do with my body. I know when I feel sexy, and it's sort of like a spirit. So taking the photo alone was just sort of taking my own power back. And then posting it was frightening.
Yeah.
I sent it to a bunch of girlfriends, and I sent it with the text over. The photo is the bait for the text. And the text is saying, we're better than you think we are. So yeah, I used the photo to manipulate people into reading what I wanted to say.
Yeah. That's awesome. Well,
I know.
We read it. We liked it. We clicked on it.
I mean, it is.
We also shared it.
But it's so much to how you have really in your 50s been standing up for yourself and for other women and for people who don't have the platform to use to stand up for themselves. And it's been so incredible to watch you over the years find that strength more and more. I mean, even so, jumping into directing when you were like, this is the scariest thing I think, because you jump out of planes. Like, you do a lot of shit in your regular life that I wouldn't do. And so how has it been facing some of those fears at 50? Like, have you found that you have this strength that you didn't know until you went out and did those things? Like, I wonder if you can speak to that a little bit.
Oh, that was really lovely. Thank you, my friend. Yes, I do have another strength that I didn't know was there. And some of it is that 50 thing. It's that wisdom. I think it's what I like so much better about my 50s than my 40s. And I know people are always saying it's about having less fucks to give, but I still give a fuck. Like, there's still a people pleaser in me. And I think I was so scared to direct because I have sat in judgment of directors for 30 years that I'm such a junkie for efficiency. I never want to waste anybody's time. I had 3 kids under 2 years old in my first 2 years of marriage. Like, there was no room to be inefficient. So when you're on a set and there's 200 people waiting around, if somebody's trying to figure it out as they're going, it's maddening. And Constance, when you work for long months of the year, I basically work a teacher's schedule. I work 10 months out of the year, but I work 12 to 16-hour days. It's a marriage killer. It's a health killer. It's the worst mom guilt you could possibly have. When I first had babies, my rules were like, I will only work in a comedy and I will only work in cable and it has to be in Los Angeles. And I almost killed my career trying to make sure I didn't miss every milestone of my children. So when I was going to direct, I was like, what if I was wrong all along? And all those people needed more time. And I was a shitty, pissy chick sitting there pouting about it. First couple of scenes, thank God it was 2 friends of mine. I literally had no voice. I was having flashbacks of the high school cafeteria where I just couldn't pull out my voice. And it wasn't the first 2 scenes. It was the first 2 takes. And then something went wrong with the camera and I had to go and sit by myself for 5 minutes. And when I got up, my voice came back and I was like, oh, there I am. And literally that voice was 50. It was like this older, wiser person who did actually have 30 years of experience at this thing. And I was like, you can't mess with experience. So I know we're supposed to be pretty and flowery. I was never pretty and flowery. I was tall and I was dark and I'm from New York. And I come in the door with like a bit of wind pushing me through, like I come in like a force. So it's just sometimes nice to be of an age where that's allowed.
Yeah.
Because I don't have to be the ingenue, onset or off.
I was going to say, I wonder how much being female like fucked with you when you were stepping into this new role. Because I know working on TV sets is so male, and I too will stab you in the front as opposed to the back. So I do come in a little heavy-handed, and I remember getting a lot of pushback from men on sets when I first started, and that to do something brand new, I was a new writer. I know just being female adds a whole other layer to it. So it's 50 and female and, all these things. And you do have to remember, like, I know what the fuck I'm doing.
Yeah. On the set, Constance has directed much more than I have. I only directed on my own set. And it's very funny to notice, because you're the actor and you're there all the time, it negates a lot of that female mansplaining. Like I got to avoid it, and I was very conscious that I will never have this gift again. I will never be given the benefit of the doubt as a director anywhere other than my own job, just because you have to be dealt with. Since then, when I've talked about what I'd like to do as a director going forward, a man I know for a long time sat at a dinner once telling me, you can't do that because, you can't do that because. And I just let him bloviate at me for 20 minutes. And I think he got the hint eventually where I was like, I can do anything I fucking want. Like, what are you talking about? Like, particularly as an actor, we are in front of a different director every week. There is no director who has more experience with directors than I do. So that was very clear to me of like this female piece. I never noticed it till my late 40s. I think because I looked like someone you were trying to get in bed with. So I caught more charm in my 30s. And when age came in and I was no longer someone you were pursuing to have sex with, all of a sudden I started to see the difference of how females were treated than men.
Yeah, you layer in that male gaze and all bets are off, which brings me to wanting to talk to you about your article that you wrote about choosing not to do Botox.
Yeah, because you did it, but then you stopped doing it, right?
Yes, I did it. First of all, I have this problem with my stomach. I was told that if you've had food poisoning more than 3 times, Botox will only last for about a month. And I've had dysentery 5 times. I've had E. coli. I've had hysteria. Like my gut is exhausted. So when I did do Botox, it lasted 4 weeks. It was like an impossible thing for me to catch. So if it was working marvelously and wasn't costing me 6 times as much as the average person, maybe I would have kept going. So I was always lax with it anyway. So I'd try it, I'd feel good for a month, and then it would go away. But, we all watch, particularly what women with money or women on screen or very attractive women, I feel like are having a harder time aging than maybe even an average looking female. And then they look silly. And I was like, I think I'd rather look old than silly. And I do worry about what I'm showing my girls. Yeah. And I am supposed to be playing the mother of a 30-year-old or a 35-year-old on screen. What am I saying to, and I'm a firefighter. Like, I'm not supposed to look like I just fell out of a Botox machine.
I know it's a 4 alarm, but I've got to go get a nip tuck. I'll be right back, guys. You never had to say that on camera?
With what you have learned, 6 years into your 50s, Is there something that you feel women should be really striving to do during this time or leading up to this time?
I think everybody, when you hit perimenopause in your 40s, should be looking at HRT. And I'm not a medical professional, but what's going to happen to your brain and your body, which then leads to your heart and cause for Alzheimer's, like there's a window where if you don't start taking care of yourself in your late 40s, you're going to pay for it so much in your 50s and 60s. And I wrote this article for Elle magazine saying, I love my boyfriend, but I'm never going to live with him. And I had pitched them like several stories. And the editor that I was working with said the younger women in the office at the magazine thought it was like a fantastic subject. Like, yeah, I love him, but I'm going to keep my own place. And I really thought, there's so much about marriage that is unequal, but it doesn't have to be a marriage between a man and a woman. Like there's always one person in a marriage who's giving more emotionally than the other half. It's just traditionally the wife role. And that leaves you not to take care of yourself. And I think it really starts if you have kids or if you have a giant job or, oh my God, if you have both in your late 40s, and it's going to get so much worse by your 50s. So I don't take care of anybody on a daily basis right now. I just have to remember to take care of myself. But that's been a practice that's been coming since the beginning of my 50s.
I mean, the good news is that it's actually available for people now, because when I turned 50 15 years ago, nobody talked about menopause. So I just started HRT at 64. And I think my doctor's opinion is it's never too early and it's never too late.
Yeah,
which,
I mean,
which
I
is
know
not
80-year-olds.
conventional.
So,
Yeah, I know 80-year-olds that are still on HRT.
Yeah, I mean, granted, I fucked it up and I overdosed on estrogen and I got my period for the first time at 64, which was not cool at all. But I'm working it out, Diane. I'm getting it together.
I'm so glad. And again, we're all not medical people, but that's the thing to me. I'm like, if you take too much estrogen, you'll get a period. If you take too much testosterone, you'll have 3 more chin hairs than you did the month before. It's very clear.
Yeah, I told my doctor, if you raise my libido above no fucking thank you, I will drive to your house and murder you.
Well, I can tell you at 56, I'm on plenty of HRT and there's no chance of that.
Yeah. We asked people what menopause symptom they would like to give to men, and a lot of people said, take away their libido, please.
Oh my God.
Which
that would be amazing.
Right? Which is so interesting because it does. I mean, it goes away for everyone, but some people it doesn't.
They want it back, man. They'll do whatever they fucking can. They'll take whatever they can to get it back.
That's true. That's true. So what has been the best compliment that you've received lately?
Oh, it might have been your introduction, but other than the introduction, I have a friend. When I was in my 30s, when I was like, before I got married, before I had kids, I had this great circle of guy friends. They were really a good time. And somehow 20 years later, all their girlfriends are my best friends. The guys are gone. They married other people, and I got all their girlfriends from their 30s. And wow, what a gift they are. The only guy friend that I kept married someone 10 years younger than him, which, screamed like she was not going to let me keep that one guy friend. But she did. And we both had 3 kids, and we moved to the same small town to go to the same public school. She is the sweetest, blondest person from Iowa. She still drives a minivan. Oh. One time she saw me riding my motorcycle on the freeway while she was in her minivan. She made her kids video me. Like, we couldn't be further apart as people. And I posted that naked picture of myself, and I think she literally wrote, "God bless you, you wild woman."
Oh my God. The motorcycle is really impressive. I'm very jealous.
Oh, we need to have Diane back just for a whole nother motorcycle moment in midlife.
We always ask people, one of our last question before we get to a surprise possibly spicy question. We always ask people what advice they have for the younger generation, but I want to switch yours to be like, what advice would you have for your daughters?
I just had a moment this morning. A woman my age just asked me what supplements I was taking. And I was like, how long do you have? And I took a photo for her. And I really had a moment of, I would like to tell my daughters everything they need to know about my mental health and my physical health and when it started changing. Like, I didn't have a hard time with pregnancy. I had a terrible time with postpartum, and I probably should have started an antidepressant then, but that was so out of my culture. That was so out of I tried it once, maybe 4 or 5 years after I had kids, and my rules for myself were, well, you can't have chocolate and you can't have coffee if you're going to do this. Like, I just thought I was being so indulgent. And I don't think those bitches are going to miss much of my psychology. Like, I'd really like to lay out for my kids exactly when things started to change medically, mentally, physically, and all the things I've done to eradicate it. Because the person they see today, the vivaciousness they might remember, or in their case, the bitchiness they might recall, they don't know what's going on in the background that's getting me to as even as I can be for them, even if it's not that even.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah.
I think that's very good.
Constance is going to ask you something from the surprise question jar.
Surprise question jar. Questions that
I think it might be called the spice jar.
Yeah, it is.
There you go.
Yeah.
Thank you, Diane.
Thank you for renaming it. We will now call it nothing else.
Okay, here we go. Would your younger self be proud or shocked of who you are now? Would your younger self be proud or shocked of who you are now?
Both. I like to do some meditation work in the mirror. I went to Bali for my 40th birthday, and we got to see the healer who was the teacher of the healer and Eat, Pray, Love. Like, it was, one of those things, like, it's a tiny island. Everybody knows everybody in the end. So this healer said to me, you have to look in the mirror every day, and you have to smile, and then you have to eat your smile. Like, he was trying to get me to ingest my own happiness. And eventually, through other, outside help, every kind of helper, it was almost like my brain will forget the good things that happen in a day every day. It's like I have to rewrite the RAM. I have to rewrite the opening software of my brain. So some of my mirror work is telling my younger self what I'm proud of myself for. So that used to start out with, when you grow up, you're going to get to go on airplanes all the time. You can take limousines to the airplane. Sometimes you sit in the front of the airplane. You can have all the candy. Your body works wonderfully. You get to have kids. You get to be married. Like, I never told her the hard stuff, but the shit that I fantasized as a little girl, I got to do most of it. So that part, I think my younger self would be proud of. The fact that I have 3 kids that are spread all over the globe right now for their education, and I live in rural Washington, is shocking. And what happened to that guy that I made the babies with? Where is he? Like, the whole thing is just, I didn't see any of the things happening in my 50s happening, and I couldn't be happier about them.
Amazing. Well, all I heard was, I can eat all the candy I want.
I love you so much.
Thank you so much for being with us today. We loved having you. You're an amazing guest. You're so full of life and inspiration.
Thanks, ladies. Thanks for doing this and having me on.
Oh, love you, love you,
Our
love
pleasure.
you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I will talk to you later. Right? So wasn't I right about her?
Yeah, she's amazing. I mean, I've watched her on television, but you don't really get to know what anybody's like from watching them on television. I didn't know she was. I mean, the thing we didn't talk about as much, which you said in your intro, which I think is so cool, is how much she fought for age parity on screen. Because it is exhausting watching 60-year-old men and their 25-year-old wives in TV shows.
Right. Well, also because she did talk about in that article that a lot of times women, you just don't even know how old they are. period. Yeah. So when she did fight to have her character have menopause symptoms, that put her in an age bracket right away, right? Without ever saying, I am 54 or whatever,
And I don't think people realize how brave it is as an actress to start talking about yourself in menopausal terms, because it's like, well, you'll no longer work, ma'am.
Yeah, well, look, Halle Berry is shouting it from the rooftops because she was told by her agents, like, you start talking about menopause, you're never going to work again.
Has she?
No, she's on fire. I mean, but that's the thing. It's like we have to show up as our authentic selves. Otherwise, nobody will show up for us.
If we all say it, they can't stop us.
Exactly. That's why we are witchy women. We're going to come into a group and we're all going to share our feelings. Speaking of sharing our feelings, we do want to give a shout out to some of our Instagram fans who have given us their one word to describe 50. We picked a couple. Here's one. Here's two. We got bewildered, which I love. Relatable from Carla Jean, or...
It's at K4RLAJE4N.
Yeah.
Do you want to give her a follow?
If you want to give her a follow. And this gem, unexpectedly sexy.
Two words.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, 2 words as well. But here's what's even better. It was my mom.
Now I'm bewildered. Well, what a way to wrap up a show. If you want more Talk 50 to Me, please follow us on Instagram at Talk 50 to Me and subscribe to our email list to get Talk 50 to Me updates and announcements. Do you have a question? Are you bewildered about it? DM us on IG or email us at talk50tomepod@gmail.com. And remember to like and subscribe wherever you find your favorite podcasts, because sharing is caring. And that's all for us today, okay?
See you next Tuesday. Bye now. Talk 50 to Me with Heidi Clements and Constance Zimmer is produced by Alex Beatty, recording engineer Aaliyah Walker, editing by Zaleen Hassi, music by Matt Friedman, production services provided by A4S Podcast Studios, a Talk 50 to Me LLC production distributed by the Forward Network.